Welcome back to Socks and Sandals, and welcome to another pickups video. So, game collecting has slowed down a little bit. I'm not. There's not a lot left for the 360 that I need. The bottom of that was dusty, and I don't know. Mostly just kind of focusing on new games that come out, even though I don't ever have the time to play any of them. They just kind of sit unopened on the shelf now, but we've reached the final two pages. And like I said in the previous episode, I would probably have another page by the time I did one of these. So I did, but yeah, it's kind of slowed down. So I think going forward, I may just do, whatever games I've picked up recently. And it's not going to be as long. It's not going to be these huge stack. It's probably just going to be like 3 or 4 games, unless I end up, because a lot of these I'll come across because I buy like a bulk lot on Facebook Marketplace or something, and Uniqua is playing with a piece of trash on the floor. Uniqua Shaquan. Like if I buy like a bulk lot, and there's a lot of games in there that I wouldn't have bought like singly. Like I'm not going to a game store and like there's a lot of them here that it's not something that I would just pick off the shelf. But because I came about it in the way of buying that lot from Facebook, I just opted to keep the ones that were somewhat interesting. So unless that happens, the game collecting videos are probably going to be a lot shorter. But speaking of that, let's just go ahead and get into it. We'll start with the one PC game I got. Nathan and I went to Canton, which is like a flea market here in Texas. They only do it on the first Monday weekend of a month. So, say, just for example, that Monday is going to be on the 3rd. They'll start an event on the Saturday prior to the first Monday of that month. It's called First Monday Trade Days. So I actually ended up having the first Monday off of the month. So I don't think I'd ever gone to Canton before. I've been to Trader's Village. So I asked him if he would like to do that. Shopped around for a little bit, but there was a guy, like his entire booth, everything was just kind of strewn about. And he's like, everything in here is $1. So I asked him if he had any video games. He said he didn't, but I dug through the box anyways. I found a copy of Call of Duty World at War, which I've already, I used it as trade fodder. And this, Street Fighter, the new Challengers. So it's it's technically a comic book. According to the back, it says, all new animated comic adventure. So it's got the animated comic, but it also came with Street Fighter 4 for the PC. When I bought this, it was sealed, but the case was broken. The little thing that holds the disc was broken. So the game has suffered some damage here. It's got some scratching and stuff. It may still play, though I kind of doubt it, but it was sealed, but because the case was broke, the disc was rattling around in it, obviously, by the side of that. I was just like, well, I'll just go ahead and open it, and I'll put it in a new case. So I did. But, yeah, it's not worth anything, so I just thought it was kind of neat. I didn't even know Street Fighter 4 came out on the computer, so I was like, you know what, I'll just hold on to it. I don't think I'll ever play Street Fighter 4 for the PC, but I may end up watching the animated comic there. There's that. I've got one PS5 game. Nathan and I think we were just out shopping around. I wanted to go to the GameStop in the Town East Mall. So I went in there and I got a copy of Galgun's Demon Purge for the PS5. So if you're unfamiliar, Galgun is a game that I think it originally came out for the PS3 PS3, PS Vita. It was a PS Vita game, and it's basically an on-rail shooter where instead of like shooting zombies or whatever, you're shooting high school girls with a love gun because two Cupid demons like caused all of the girls in the area some sort of like pheromone thing, and they're attacking the protagonist. And the only way to cure them is to shoot them with love in their erogenous zones. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's one of those smutty things, but this Gal Guardians game is like a Metroidvania. And I like Bloodstained. I haven't actually played an actual Castlevania. Played a little bit of Samus Returns on the 3DS, but I love Bloodstained. So anything that's kind of similar to that, and it's a spin-off of a game I actually liked playing, obviously. But yeah, so I bought this at GameStop for $14.99, which is actually a pretty good deal. When I scanned it into CLZ, I think it was like $25. So it was actually a pretty nice find there. But one of these days I'll get around to playing it. We're currently playing A Hat in Time, so this will be on the wheel for our next PlayStation game. So when we finish that, it may get picked. We'll switch over to Xbox now. I went back to Longview for work. I always like it when we stay in Longview because, like I've mentioned before, there's a Game Exchange, a GameStop, and an Entertainmart, like within 3 blocks of each other. So I went over to Game Exchange, and the Game Exchange Longview location is by far the best Game Exchange. Every time I go in there, I find something I'm looking for. So I've been looking for Cold Fear for the original Xbox for a while, ever since probably Retro Rivals talked about it. It's a survival horror game that came out on the Xbox, and I think it's also on PS2, but my PS2's broke. I have an original Xbox, and a lot of original Xbox games are backwards compatible on the 360, so it's obviously the better choice for me. But yeah, I actually found this at Classic Games Fest in Austin, but they wanted $60 for it, and I wasn't really sure if that's what it was going for at the time. The receipt's probably going to be in one of the other games, but I think this was like $25, maybe $23 at Game Exchange. Granted, the artwork's seen better days. It's a little water damaged on the back, but the disc looks fine. The disc looks fine. So that's really all I care about. It has a semblance of artwork. It's not reprinted, so that's perfectly fine. This is all you're going to see when it sits on the shelf anyways. So, yeah. The thing that kind of turns me off of it, though, is I think it's tank controls, and I'm not the biggest fan of tank controls. Like, we've moved past that in gaming now for a reason. But it is a, like, Silent Hill, Resident Evil-esque game that I've never played, and I like Resident Evil. I'm probably not the biggest Silent Hill fan, but I've played 2 and Downpour, so, you know, take that for what you will. And then, so this was actually thrown away at work. Found this in the trash. It's Ford Racing 2. When it comes to racing games, especially if it's free, like if it's, you know, something I didn't even pay for, I'm more opted to keep it, especially if it's for a system that I can actually play. So yeah, Ford Racing 2. It's a racing game where you play nothing but Ford vehicles, which I'm a Ford guy anyway, so why the hell not? The back, you got the GT Mustang, 69 GT Mustang. You've got the 2002 Ford Thunderbird. You got the classic F-150. So, you know. Alright, so next up we'll do PS3. So, these next two games are the other two games I bought. Well, actually, these next three games. No. So, this one here I bought in Arlington at a game store. I can't. Let's see, the receipt's in it. Game Over Video Games in Arlington, Texas. So I have the other two Agarist War games on the 360. This was a PS3 exclusive. I didn't even know it existed until I found it there. So I bought it. So now I've got all of the Agarist War games. I bought it for $14.99. I have no idea what it goes for, but yeah, I have yet to play any of these Agarist War games, but you know, it's got cute anime girls on the cover, so I've got to get it. It's made by Idea Factory and Compile Heart, so they make the not the Senran Kagura, the Hyperdimension Neptunia games, and I like those, so I will more than likely like this. It's an RPG. Apparently, like, it's set through like decades. Like, you can have a family, and they'll have a kid, and then you play as the child. I think that's the way it works, but I'm not really sure. So these next two games are the other two games I bought at the Game Exchange in Longview. So the last time Nathan and I went to the Longview Game Exchange, this was there, and I think at the time we went there, they only wanted like $23 for it. I've since removed the sticker. One of the back ones says $19.99. Well, when I went and got this, it's probably not in this one. It's probably in the next game. I think it was like $35. So this is the Watchmen End is Nigh complete experience. So it comes with both episodes of the Watchmen game, End is Nigh, and it comes with the movie Watchmen. So this one also has all of the feelies in it, which is pretty cool. It's supposed to have a slipcover over it, but you know, whatever. So it's got, I believe this is a comic. Yeah. So it's, well, this might just be, yeah, this is the instruction manual. So it's got the instruction manual. It's got the Watchmen timeline poster. It tells you all about, like, who the Watchmen are, how they started, and then it ends off where the movie begins with the comedian dying. And then it's got an actual Watchmen poster. I believe it's Owlman and Rorschach is on this. I doubt I'll ever hang this up, but, you know, it's cool to have. Yeah, it's got Owlman and Rorschach. So, Rorschach is my favorite character in the Watchmen universe. You know, he's the most like Batman, even though Owlman is there. But he's actually a detective, and he's got, you know, morals, though he's not as forgiving as Batman. But, yeah, I like Rorschach. It's been a while since I've seen the Watchmen movie, but it's a DC Comics property, so I enjoy it. And then the last game I got at Longview Game Exchange upon my last visit, I could swear I had the receipt to this. Yep, I remember. So this isn't the last game I bought at the Longview Game Exchange. We'll get to that when we get to Xbox One. Last PS3 game I got at the Longview Game Exchange is White Knight Chronicles 2. I know nothing about this other than it was like on people's lists of hidden PS3 gems. This one used to be one of the more valuable ones for PS3. I believe when like the store was being threatened to shut down, this one shot up in price. It has since come down. I can't rightly remember what I paid for this, but from judging from the back, it looks like a turn-based RPG. And I know nothing other than that. It also includes the first White Knight Chronicles, which is probably why this one was so valuable at one point before the store wasn't being shut down. But yeah, it's just one of those. To me, my PlayStation collection is the weird and unusual. Like, I would have preferred to have Watchmen on the 360, but they had the complete experience there on PS3. So I got it there because that is also on the 360. I prefer achievements. But when it comes to PlayStation, you know, the Japanese exclusives, all the anime games, just the weird stuff like Yakuza, Dead Souls, stuff like that. The MotorStorm games. That's what I get on PlayStation. So, White Knight Chronicles 2 is a PlayStation exclusive. So, it's also D3 Publisher, who did the One-chan Bada series. They did D4. They did Eat Lead, Matt Hazard. So, they've done a few games that I've liked. But, so I feel like this one would probably be fun with it being a turn-based RPG. It'll be in the PlayStation wheel. So, continuing with PlayStation, now we've got PS4. So, up until he opted to not get all of the trophies for it, I was watching Nick AR stream The Binding of Isaac. So, he really got me into wanting to play it for myself, so I bought, I think this is the only PlayStation physical you can get, is the Afterbirth Plus. They've got the, what is it, Remembrance, or whatever the newest version of this is, on PS5, but only digitally, and, you know, by all of this nonsense, I'm a physical collector, so I bought the Afterbirth Plus. But like I said, he since, because he was originally going for all trophies. He was going to do all the DLC and everything. But something to do with time or whatever. And I just saw that as a cop-out. So I didn't even watch his last few streams of this because he went from doing all trophies to just doing the platinum. And, you know, you can take it for what you will. But me, as an achievement hunter, we don't get that option on Xbox. You know, if we want it to show that we have 100%ed it, we don't have a platinum trophy. We have to get every achievement, so DLC and everything included, in order for it to show 100%. You know, so to me, the platinum hunting community, when they don't go for the DLC, granted, stuff like Assassin's Creed, where there's like 25 damn DLCs. Yeah, whatever. But for a game that he was obviously enjoying, but he opted to do it because of the upload schedule for YouTube, I just saw that as a cop-out. He was saying that he had to edit his videos because his editor was on vacation, and during that time he didn't play any Binding of Isaac. He didn't even touch his PlayStation. And, you know, I just, you know, that's on him, really. He had, I don't want to assume his schedule. Maybe he spent a whole 8 hours of a day editing. I don't know, but that just wasn't for me. So I stopped watching The Binding of Isaac. But I would like to play it. So I have it. It's a hard game. Watching him play it, it is a difficult game. So I don't know if I'll ever go for all of the trophies in it, but it'll be in the wheel. So I'll at least do a playthrough of it if it ever gets spun. But I don't know. I did Returnal. That's the only roguelike I've ever played, and I think that's only a 6 out of 10 on PSN profiles or whatever the fuck the trophy thing is. So, and to me, that was like one of the more difficult full completions I've ever done. Um, and yes, I did the DLC for that. There is a video if you would like to watch it. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll ever get all the trophies in it, but I can certainly try. I was at the Waxahachie Game Exchange, and this game had been there for a while. Red Faction, the remake by Limited Run Games, it had probably been there. So like the sticker on this is from April 5th of 2021. So it sat on the shelf for 3 years. I would always pick it up and put it back down because it's labeled as new. Well, it's very clearly not new. It's got, damage to the case there. It's damaged on the spine. It's damaged on the front. It's, for one, open. The little inserts bent. So it's not a new game. But they've got it at new price, $49.99. So I would always put it back down. Well, this next time I went in there, I think I had just done a trade-in, so I had expendable credit. And I was like, you know what? I'll get that. But I was willing to get it for the $49.99, but I was like, so this isn't new anymore. Is there any way we can, because I think used on eBay, it was going for like 25, I think. I was like, is there any way we can do this for a used price? He's like, yeah, we're supposed to be getting rid of the new anyways. So I think it was like $29.99. Actually, I've got the receipt right here. It was actually $24.99 is what I paid for it. So exactly what it was selling for on eBay. So I actually got that one. I played a little bit of Red Faction Armageddon, which is actually going to be coming up in the 360. And I just kind of destroyed the first few buildings. It was free with gold at one point. But I've never played the original. And, it's... I don't know if it came out physically from Limited Run Games for the Xbox. I doubt it. Because I think they only recently started doing Xbox releases. But, yeah, so... Like I said, weird PlayStation game. It's a Limited Run game that I found at Game Exchange. So I opted to try it out. This next game, I have been looking for this for a while. A little backstory. The first game in this series, I pre-ordered from Amazon when it got announced. And then I guess it was, I played it. It's one of the 10 games I have all of the trophies for on PlayStation. But apparently it was a limited release, and it apparently went up in value until they released another run of it. But then they announced a second one. It's Blue Reflection Second Light, and when it came out, I wanted to get it when it was announced, but I don't know. There was probably other games at the time. There's also an anime of this that I haven't finished that I would like to. But the first Blue Reflection was one of my favorite games, and I didn't even know that it was, I didn't even know that it had ever gone up in value. I didn't know it was a limited release. Like I said, I pre-ordered it from Amazon when it came out and played it. I guess it was a hidden gem or something like that. I don't know. But I've been looking for this for a while. And a few times I would save it on my Mercari. It'd be up at a good price. But I would never get it. And then it would end up selling. So I was at a GameStop in Garland, I think. And I think this was $14.99, which is a hell of a good deal. And when I bought it, granted it's kind of crusty, it's got schmutz all over it, but when I bought it, the lady at the counter was like, that game has been sitting there forever, and finally someone bought it. I've been looking for it forever. What do you mean? I can never find it anywhere. And there it was, just sitting forever on a shelf in GameStop. So yeah, I finally have it. It's in the wheel. It's probably one of the more ones that I've been excited to play. Yeah, it's been sitting there, according to this sticker on the inside, since 2022. There you have it. And then another game I bought at Canton. This, like, a seller owned a video game store. I can't remember what city it's in, but I bought Lost Judgment. So I have Judgment on the PS5, but this was a pretty good deal. I think he only wanted like 14 for it. So I got it. Plus, it, like, if I put this in my PS5, it's gonna have the PS5 upgrade, so it really doesn't matter. But it's actually still got the sticker in it. So if you don't know what Judgment is, it's a spin-off of the Yakuza series where you play as a police detective. I played a little bit of Judgment, not a lot. There's a lot of the Yakuza series I haven't played. Basically, I've played a lot of Ishin, but I'm nowhere near done with that. Played the first one to completion. I didn't get all the trophies, but I did complete the story. And then I completed Like a Dragon. But everything else in between and after, I haven't hardly touched. But, you know, I like the Yakuza universe. The TV show that came out recently was actually really good. In a future pickups, I bought the remastered collection for PS4 where it's got 3, 4, and 5 in it. I wanted to do that because the way Fallout went, granted the excitement for it died down and the prices for the games came back down, but the Yakuza remastered thing has been... I'd have it in my eBay cart and then it would sell, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger on that before it got stupid expensive. But yeah, Lost Judgment. I really need to stop buying games because I've got so many that it's just like I'm never going to have any time to play any of these. So that's the problem. Games keep coming out and I keep finding games that I'd never heard of or didn't have the money to play when I was a kid. So, alright, so now we'll do Xbox One / Series X. So I believe this is my only Series X game, and it's Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. So this is the newest Test Drive game that came out. I played a little bit of it, but the AI in this is severely unbalanced. Like, they're either really stupid or you're just never going to get into first place. And if you do get into first place and you don't stay there, you're not getting back into first place. So I just wasn't having fun with it. And it's always online, so there's not like a quick restart of a race. You have to literally back out of the race as if it's a lobby and then go back into it anytime you make a mistake or whatever. So I just wasn't having fun with it. I'm hoping they patch like an offline mode or at least fix the AI to where it's a little more competitive and not just, yeah, you may win or you may not. You really don't benefit from winning unless you're wanting to go for all of the achievements, but because it doesn't punish you, you still get the same amount of money for losing as you would have when you won. And, you know, you're not required to beat the game for winning a race or winning all races. So it really doesn't matter, but when I play a racing game, I want to win, you know? That's kind of the whole deal of having a race, is to be first place or at least make podium. But I hardly did that. The only thing I was doing good at were the time trial things. So they're still releasing patches for it. So once they've like fully completed the patch run, probably by that time no one's going to be playing it though, so I won't be able to get all the achievements anyways. But that's just what I've planned with that. Or if there's an announcement that they've released an offline mode, then I'll jump back into that one. But as of right now, I'm not really worried about it. So the other game I got at GameStop when I bought Gal Guardians is Trials Fusion. So to me, this was the last good Trials game. And when it came out, it wasn't as good as Trials Evolution. Um, Trials Blood Dragon came out after this, and that one wasn't great either. That one should have been the writing on the wall for the Trials series going forward. But I absolutely loathed Trials Rising. That game was just like, it was the Trials mobile game released for consoles. It was so much grinding. So base Trials, whenever you completed, like, you got enough medals in the tracks, you would unlock the next set of tracks. For this, you had to, like, keep replaying the same tracks over and over again before it unlocked the extreme. Like, you're supposed to unlock extreme when you've got a bronze medal in all of the other ones, but this one wanted you to keep replaying it, and that just, or Trials Rising wanted you to keep replaying it. This was the last good one. I have this digitally on the Xbox with all of the DLC. Apparently there is a version that has all of the DLC. I completely forgot it existed, but I saw it in someone else's pickups video the other day. Like, they were at in the UK, they were at a CEX. But I was like, damn, I forgot that fucking existed. I used to see it all the time at GameStop and stuff, but yeah. But it was $4.99, so I liked Trials Fusion. Like I said, this was the last one I enjoyed. I don't know if I'd ever get all the achievements for this. I've got a lot of them for the both the 360 version and the Xbox One version, but man, I'm not as good at Trials as I used to be. But yeah, I liked it, so I thought I'd just get a physical copy of it for $4.99. This next game I got at Half Price Books in Arlington. There are two games I actually bought there. This is Back 4 Blood. I don't even know what this edition is called. It's like, so it's got the game, but it also, so it's got the game there. It's got a pack of playing cards with it, because that's Back 4 Blood's whole deal is you get cards to, like, boost your stats or whatever, or fucking give modifiers to the match. When Back 4 Blood came out, I played it on the PC with my cousin, with Sadie, and I was not a fan. It was touted as being made by the same people that did Left 4 Dead. It's Turtle Rock Studios, I think, which I think also did Evolve. I think they did Evolve, which didn't do well either. But yeah, it's one of those 4-player isometric. Well, not really isometric, because there's no one that, I mean, I think there's a mode where you could play as the infected, just like Left 4 Dead, but I don't know, when I played this, all of the infected looked the same. It's not like Left 4 Dead where each infected clearly looks different than, like, the special infected looks different from each other. There's like 4 versions of each of the 4 special infected, and it's all brown, and there wasn't any color to it. The humor was not even laughable because it wasn't funny. It was just not what I wanted. But I don't know. They've updated it. They've added new matches. They've added different survivors. So it might be fun to play. I just saw this big box, really. And I was like, okay. I mean, I think it was like $10. So that's really why I bought it. It was in the Variety Hour wheel. It'll be in the next one if I don't play it before then, but I may give it a shot and see. I recently watched Snamwitches. He did a video where he did all of the campaigns on No Hope difficulty. with just the bots. So I don't know. It might be fun now, but the whole card system and just its whole thing, like, I don't know why they couldn't make it just like Left 4 Dead, where you pick a campaign and you just play through it. All of the weapons do the same damage. Like, they had modifiers where you can, everybody's got an M60 or whatever. But if you wanted to just play through each of the campaigns on expert or whatever, just normal with some friends, you could. You didn't have to have cards. You didn't have to just it didn't have the random loot thing. Like, you knew there's going to be machetes here or baseball bats or whatever, health kits, fucking boomer bile. Yeah, I don't know. Its whole thing just isn't very appealing to me, but like I said, it's been updated, so I may give it a shot. So this game is the last game I bought at the Game Exchange in Longview, and it's Road 96. A game I would not have imagined to find, sorry Longview, but basically in the middle of nowhere at a Game Exchange. So Road 96 was a game I played on Game Pass, and it's probably one of the better, like, indie games I've played in recent times. It's set up kind of like a roguelike, where you're playing as somebody that's trying to escape this country, and each person you play as to escape has a different route, and your objective is to get as many teenagers out of this country as you can. But there's going to be different events that happen for each player that you have to overcome. It was really fun. It's a game I have all of the achievements for, but so this is the one that has the receipt in it. For White Knight Chronicles 2, I paid $19.99. Road 96, I paid $18.99. Cold Fear was $24.99. And Watchmen: The End Is Nigh was $34.99. But yeah, definitely not a game. This was actually the first game I saw, because I typically go to Xbox first. Yeah, I have all of the achievements. I played this while it was on Game Pass, but I liked it so much that I wanted to have a physical copy of it. So I bought it. But yeah, highly recommend Road 96. If you like roguelikes, it's more of like a roguelite. Like, it's not like the events for each run are going to be different, but there's not really any combat. It's kind of more just choice based, but it is fun nonetheless. And then lastly, for Xbox One, we have Borderlands: The Handsome Collection. So I basically own Borderlands 1. Let's see, I've got it here in the Handsome Collection. I've got the, like, Xbox One, Xbox 360 re-release of it. The Game of the Year version that does still have the map. I've got the Game of the Year version for Xbox 360, and I've got the Game of the Year version for PC. So I own the first Borderlands quite a few times, and pre-sequel 2 times now because it's in this. But you could probably guess the whole reason I bought this is because of the slipcover. So when I was in Kansas City for work earlier this year, I actually found this at GameStop. Their slipcover was different. It had there was like a logo down here telling you it had pre-sequel and the first Borderlands. So I don't know if that was just a sticker. It might have been, because there is some residue here. So it was probably just a sticker. But when I took it to the counter, they told me that they actually didn't have that game in stock. I was half tempted to ask if I could just buy the case or have the case or whatever, since they didn't have the game. What sense would they have had to keep the case? But I didn't. I was with other coworkers. I didn't want them to know I was weird and that I would just take an empty case like that. But hell, I'm even weirder because I bought it again just for a slipcover. I didn't know there was a slipcover version of this, and once I found that out, it was game over. I was going to buy it. I think I bought this for like $10 off of eBay. It's not, I've already played both of these on the 360, got all of the achievements, but if I ever wanted to do it again, I could. Borderlands 2 is the best Borderlands. And see, here I was talking about having all the versions of Borderlands 1, and it's Borderlands 2 on this one. I'm a fucking idiot. All of that fucking lead up to this, and Borderlands 2 is the one that's on this one. I guess what you could say is that I just want every like special edition version of each Borderlands game, because in a future pickups, we'll talk about Borderlands 3 because I've bought that one again. But yeah, I wanted the Handsome collection just for this slipcover. And lastly, we're going to come to our ever-growing monstrous stack of Xbox 360 games. So there's a few YouTubers I watch from the UK. I think his name is TVM is his channel's name, and he bought this game. It's Enemy Front. I had never heard of this until he showed it, but when he showed gameplay, I was like, there is no way. You're not going to be able to tell from the screenshots. It's like, there is no way that's a 360 game. It looked really good. Like, the graphics, like, just look at that picture there on y'all's right. Just those colors, like, astounding. It came out in 2014. It's a World War II shooter. I actually bought this at Founded Electronics for $10. But yeah, like, it just looked amazing. And I've never played it. It's a World War II shooter that I've never played, so I'm somewhat of a fan of first-person shooters. I mean, shooters in general, I'll play. So yeah, I've been looking for it. I again was tempted to buy it off of Mercari, but when I was at Founded Electronics, I traded in a bunch of stuff. So I think I had like, let's see if this tells me. It doesn't tell me my starting credit, but after what I bought, I think it was like 90 something dollars, maybe like $96 in store credit from what I traded in. So I bought this while I was there. They're always doing a buy two get one free on their, or it might be it's buy one get one free on all of their pink tag stuff at Founded Electronics. So I always love going into Founded Electronics. So I got this there. Yeah, it was in the wheel. It'll still be in the wheel unless I play it. Damn, I forgot I had my fucking coffee right here. This bitch is probably fucking cold. Damn it. My throat was a little parched, so. It's a smoky vanilla, if you're wondering. But also at Founded Electronics. So with the credit, what I typically do when, even if I trade something in and I've got credit, I'll still buy, like, I have, unless it's something that I am specifically trading all of this stuff in for. Like when I got Yakuza Dead Souls, that was something I was wanting to go there and get. I'll still be like, well, I don't want to spend all of my credit on one thing. But I was like, you know what? It's probably a better deal when you trade stuff in like that and you've got the credit to buy the bigger, more expensive items, to just do that as opposed to waiting and maybe missing out or having to outright just spend cash for it. So I was looking for the higher end stuff that I was wanting, and they had this Killer is Dead collector's edition. So Killer is Dead is made by Suda51. Like I was saying, he did the Killer 7, he did the No More Heroes series, he did Shadows of the Dam, but he did my favorite game. Well, probably my favorite game of his, Lollipop Chainsaw. I've played Shadows of the Damned, but I was trying to play it on the hardest difficulty and I got stuck at a part. I had rented the game, so I just returned the game because I wasn't being able to progress. But with me having the extra credit and them having this pretty nice collector's edition of it, and with the way Xbox 360 had been going, I thought, why not? I think they only wanted like $25 for this, which to me is a hell of a deal. So it comes with the game in this little like slipcover thing. It's got the soundtrack. It's got the art book, which, according to Nathan, he thumbed through this. This book contains game spoilers, so I guess I'm not going to look through that. But I thought it was a pretty nice little collector's edition, so I opted to spend my credit on it. It also comes with like DLC content, which I think this is backwards compatible on the Series X, so I might be able to redeem those. I haven't played this, obviously, but it's kind of looks like it's in the same style as Lollipop Chainsaw and Shadows of the Damned, so it'll probably be a fun time. And then the other game I bought when I bought Back 4 Blood is F1 Race Stars. I would always see this spine, and every time I see it, I think it's a Kinect game until I actually read it this one time. I was like, oh, that's a racing game. So here's the receipt for the half price books. So F1 Race Stars I paid $8.99 for, and Back 4 Blood I paid $13.49. So at the beginning of this year, I went to a half price books, the one in Mesquite, before they closed down, and they gave me, I think because I spent like $50 or something, I spent over a certain amount, so they gave me like a coupon book, and every 2 months you were able to get 10% off, like say for March and April. If you go in either March or April, you can present the coupon and get 10% off. So each 2 months, you can go in and get 10% off. I had one coupon left, so I went to the Arlington Half Price Books and got Back 4 Blood and F1 Race Stars. It looks like it's a kart racer, so I'm probably not going to enjoy it that much. But it is a racing game for the 360 that I've never played, let alone heard of. So... And while I was in Arlington at the Half Price Books, I believe I went into, was it the Parks Mall in Arlington? They had a GameStop in there. I don't think I ended up getting anything in that GameStop. But across the street was a movie trading company. So I went in, and this is another one of those games that went up when the Xbox 360 store was shutting down. It's Bloodstone 007. Everybody says this is one of the like better 007 games. It's made by Bizarre Creations, who did the Project Gotham racing games. And apparently the driving in this game is some of the best in any 007 game. Obviously, because the driving was done by people who make good racing games. And I used to see this all the time. I'd see it at Half Price Books for like $9.99 or whatever. When people were talking about the hidden gems for Xbox 360, once the whole thing started taking off, I was still finding it and was like, I might get that. Not knowing that Xbox 360 would ever increase in value, because I'd been collecting for it since I graduated high school, and Xbox 360 has always been cheap. Well, I ended up having to pay $19.99 for this. I think it like went up to like 25, maybe $30 at one point, and I just wasn't going to pay that much. But it was $19 at movie trading company So I opted to just go ahead and buy it then. I think that's probably my threshold for a game, especially one that I haven't really been able to find since everything started popping off. $14.99 is probably the sweet spot for me when it comes to a game. Like, I'm not too fussed about paying $14.99, but $19.99 on a game that I haven't been able to find, I'll opt for that, especially if I'm only getting one. Now, if there are like other games that I find that I want that are cheaper than that, I'll probably put the $19.99 back on the shelf. But yeah, this was the only one I ended up buying at Movie Trading Company. So there you go. This next game, again, another one that went up when the Xbox 360 stuff started popping off. Unfortunately, this was one I wanted for obvious reasons, but I would never find this in a store. Like, if I had found this in a store before Xbox 360 went off, like One Chanbara, I found that at Half Price Books for $14.99. If I had found this at Game Exchange for $14.99, I would have bought it. But I had only ever seen this like on eBay or whatever. But yeah, I definitely would have bought this. But I ended up buying it off of Mercari, I think, for like $30. The case is a little scratched and it's missing its manual. So this game is backwards compatible on the Series X. I'll share this now because I actually have a copy, so I don't have to worry about it. So with the Series X, and I'll talk about it again when we get to another game in the 360, it doesn't matter what region it is. If it's backwards compatible, you can put a fucking Australian copy of Rumble Roses XX into your Series X, and it's going to download the NTSC copy. So if you're unable to find this game for a cheap price in NTSC, you can just opt to buy the whatever version. I was going to get the Japanese version because I think it was like $10 on eBay. Yeah, I think I can't remember exactly how much I paid for this, but I ended up just buying this one off of Mercari. I think I had some extra credit, so I got it a little cheaper than what it was listed as. So I just did that way. But or One Chanbara, if the fucking Japanese version is cheaper than the NTSC, because I think that one's like 60 something right now. If you've got a Series X or hell an Xbox One, when you put it in there, it's just going to download the NTSC version off the store. So any backwards compatible game, if you desperately want to play it and you don't care about the PAL thing on the spine or whatever, you can play it on the Xbox One or Series X. Me saying that probably just drove all of the prices for all of those up because now sellers know. Which, I mean, if you collect for the 360, I don't know. But just a little tidbit for you. Because that's what I was going to do until I found this on Mercari. It was a good enough deal for me to not do that. I think what happens with like the Japanese stuff is they list it for $10, but then they want to charge like $14 shipping. Which, if you find that on Mercari, $25 free shipping, yeah, they end up shafting you with like the buyer fee and the fucking handling and stuff like that, taxes. But eBay's going to charge you taxes too. So you just kind of got to weigh your options there. But if you can find it cheaper in a different region and you really want to play it, there you go. And it's backwards compatible. So the other game I bought from the guy that had the booth, the same one I bought Lost Judgment from, I got Amped 3. So he actually had this listed, I think, for $10. And Lost Judgment was... This may have been... He had it listed cheaper than I mean, I never really see this anymore. But I ended up paying $15 for both. I can't remember what it was. But this one currently is valued more than Lost Judgment. And I got it for a pretty good deal. I I'm not the biggest snowboarding fan. I liked the Cool Border series on PlayStation, but I'm more skateboarding. But I hear this is actually a pretty good snowboarding game. It's got nice attitude to it. So it's a 360 game I haven't played. I believe it also has at least no online achievements. So I could get all of the achievements for this one if I wanted to. But yeah, I got a pretty good deal on that one. This is the last game I bought from the... It's not Duncanville, the Cedar Hill half-price books before they closed. So I went in there because it's the closest half-price books to me. Not any longer. Gotta go all the way to fucking Dallas for that now. I went in and was like, because I found a few good games there. So I was just going there looking to spend another one of my coupons. I might have put the receipt in this. I did. Actually didn't use a coupon. I just bought this outright. But as I was looking at the games, someone else had gone to the counter and was like, "Oh, so y'all are closing?" And I was like, "What?" Because the Mesquite one had just closed down like 2 months prior to that. I was like, "Well, son of a bitch!" And they had a pretty good selection of like everything: books, movies, CDs. I mean, I guess the rent was just too high and they weren't getting enough business, but it fucking sucked. So yeah, NASCAR 14 is the last game I bought from that store. It was really the only one that I had any like interest in, but I felt like I had to get something. So I believe like the next several, well, no. A lot of these that are coming up for the 360 I got in a bulk lot off of Facebook Marketplace. So here we have Red Faction Guerrilla. I already had Armageddon on the 360. I bought it at Collectibles, Cards, and Games. Like I said, I played a little bit of this when it was free with gold, but I didn't do anything more than just destroying like the first few buildings. So I didn't really play it, but it was in that literal tub of games, so I opted to keep it. Again, it's not really worth anything. If a game is like $9 and up and I have no interest in it whatsoever, I put it in my trade fodder bin so I can like get credit at Game Exchange or whatever. Yeah, I mean, people like Red Faction. I've got the first Red Faction now and Armageddon, so might as well keep that one. So this next game I bought at a Cash America in El Paso. I was there for work. It's Batman Arkham Origins, and as you can see, it's the PAL version. It's weird to find a PAL game in a pawn shop in El Paso. Fucking the most south you can get in Texas before you get into Mexico. So I don't know why it was there, but this one is also backwards compatible on the Series X. And, you know, I think they had their games. So they had a sign on the games, on the case that had the games in it, that said games $3 each. So I was like, well, that game I think sells for like 20 NTSC, so $3 isn't a bad deal. Well, when I called him over, I was like, so the games are $3, right? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to, because the fucking sign says they're $3 each. So there's not, you can do that, you're gonna do that. But yeah, I got it just because I bought this and Turok Evolution, I think, on the PS2. I bought that one just for trade fodder. I don't even know how much it was valued at, but people like the Turok games, so it was, again, $3. So I paid $6 for Batman Arkham Origins and Turok Evolution, which was one of the games I traded in to Founded Electronics. So, and I have put this in my Series X, and it did download the NTSC version. So that does work if that's something y'all want to do. Because I also like, I was trying to figure out, because I've also bought Nathan a copy of Dead or Alive 6 PAL. Found that at the Waxahachie Game Exchange. And I was trying to look up whether or not he can play that online on his NTSC Series X. Like I said in the Variety Hour, I want to get all of the achievements for every Dead or Alive game. So I figure we can farm the online stuff easier with him. He can let me win and shit. As opposed to me having to actually get good at the game. So I was trying to look up if he's able to play online a PAL version of the game on an NTSC Xbox. And it was bringing up, it actually brought up Arkham Origins in particular, if you could play that NTSC, and people were telling them no. So I have tested it myself. You can. Brink was another one I got in that bin of games. I've bought a few bin of games from Facebook Marketplace, so I've kind of lost track of which bin they've come from. But I believe this has a single player campaign. It wouldn't be the only game I have in my collection that's multiplayer only and I can't fucking play anymore. But I've heard from one of the YouTubers I watch that it does have a single player campaign. So I figured I'd keep it because, again, it wasn't worth anything to trade in. So it's a shooter. Might as well. And another one from one of those bins. This is Thief. This is like the 2014 reboot. Yep, 2014. This one did not do very well. I hear not a lot of people like this one. I do not know. I've never played a Thief game. I like Dishonored. I'm not really into stealth, but in Dishonored, I'm pretty good at it as long as I can save scum. But I believe all of the achievements are obtainable, so it could be nice. Could be a nice one to get all the achievements for. I have watched, I think his name is Studi. I have watched him play this. He enjoyed it. So could be fun to get all the achievements in. And I'm just going to pick up these next two games and hold them up together. So these are two of the Burger King games. Again, got this in that bin. It's Sneak King and Pocket Bike Racer. This is somebody, I don't know. Danica Patrick, maybe. But I believe there's one more. Big Bumpin', I think, is the last Burger King game. So when the fuck did these come out? 2006. So launch of the 360. I believe if you bought some sort of meal at Burger King, you would get these games for free. I remember seeing the ads for these in the stores at that time, but I neither had an Xbox or an Xbox 360, so it wasn't something I wanted. But so yeah, so these will play on an Xbox. As you can see up there at the top, it just says Xbox and then Xbox Live. Which that's just kind of interesting, is that it's a 360 and original Xbox game. Like, you see those with the Xbox One and 360. It's crazy that they had them back then as well. But yeah, again, they're not worth anything. I don't know how easy it would be to get all the achievements. I think there's only like 200 gamer score in these. They're essentially Xbox Live arcade games. But just a kind of like interesting bit of history for Xbox, that like you could buy a damn Whopper at Burger King and get 2 Xbox games. So I kept them for that reason. If I can find Big Bumpin' for, I don't know, 99 cents, I might buy it. But I ain't really fussed about it. So we got 2 games left for the 360. This one was actually featured in our backlog bonanza of the Achievement Hunters Variety Hour. It's Aliens Colonial Marines. One of the worst Aliens games that you could play. I thought it was okay. I was playing it on the hardest difficulty, so I was getting frustrated. The AI is kind of broken. Sometimes they just kind of stand there. What I was getting frustrated with is a lot of the times you will be fighting one, and when they hit you, it kind of shakes the camera and you lose track, like especially if you get swarmed, you lose track of like where you are oriented to them, and then I guess they do their tail thing if they end up behind you and it's an insta kill. So that was just getting a little frustrating, and then once they introduced human enemies that shot back, it was like I was playing Call of Duty but with a worse cover system. I think it could be fun to play. I also had the volume all the way down so I couldn't fucking hear shit. I think it would be a fun playthrough though. I don't know if are there 2 manuals in this? Why? Why do I have 2 manuals? I don't know if I'd ever get all of the achievements because there is multiplayer. I believe it's peer-to-peer, so if I wanted to, I could buy 7 other copies of this and farm them. We'll see. But yeah, what little I played of it, I think it could be a fun playthrough. And lastly, for this pickups video, we have Homefront. I know absolutely. Actually, I didn't get this in a bin. I actually got this from Video Games Monthly. Did not even notice there was a sticker in there. So in one of my like random boxes from them, I got Homefront. I believe this one is also backwards compatible on the Series X. It's a shooter, so again, racing games and shooters I'm more opted to hold on to. You know, as long as the shooting or in a racing game's instance, as long as it controls well, you can have at least a little bit of fun with it. But I heard that people didn't really like this one when it came out, and then when Homefront Revolution came out, people really didn't like that one, so they kind of looked back on this one a little more fondly. But 2027, so 3 more years. Well, this year's almost over, 2. And we can look forward to Russia invading. I think it might not. Rider of Red Dawn and Apocalypse Now. I think it's actually Korea in this. I'm not sure. Whatever. It's a shooter. So, again, it'll be in the wheel for whenever I do another variety hour. But that was the most recent round of pickups. Like I said, once we do that last page, I'll probably start doing these just whenever I get a few games or whatever. It's probably not going to be as long as this anymore, but if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below for your favorite games that I've picked up. Any that you recommend I should play now. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing. I do pickups videos like this. I've got achievement hunting videos where I try to get all of the achievements in a game. And I also do gameplay. Right now we're playing A Hat in Time. So if any of that interests you, consider subscribing. But other than that, leave a like and check back next time for whatever I do. Bye-bye.